Come on in, guys.
Think I spent too much time on you. Racked my brain too many times at night. Bet I'm a breath of fresh air for another nigga. You finna make me go take care of another nigga. Who you playing is all things up on my mind. Then, oh man, it's other shit up on my mind. Like anyway, I see the world on my own. I see the world on the tip of my tongue. I bet it's easy, it gets so easy to take the easy way out. No way out. They say easy, it must be easy to be you. I say how do you figure when you don't know me at all, at all, at all, at all? It doesn't matter anyway. Oh. Nowadays I don't know you, I never could tell if it matters anyway. I'm sure you got it all figured out, and you confident in yourself. But when it's time to be on the outside, baby, I can't come on the inside, baby. Looks like you good and you got it all figured out all by yourself. Well, I'm trying to be on the inside, baby. I can't come on the inside, baby. I might be thirsty for you. How can you blame me? Or I might be thirsty for you. How can you blame me? Or I might bless your cause.
I'm gonna let this go.
How do you
3
want
minutes.
me? I conjure up that coochie for you. Who do you need? I might be that coochie for you. Ever you need me to get in between your guidelines, and I slide right in. You could read in between my guidelines, and you feel right in. So easy, it gets so easy to take the easy way out. No way out. They say easy, it must be easy to be you. I say hell. Do you figure when you don't know me at all, at all, at all, at all? It doesn't matter anyway. Oh, nowadays I don't know, you never could tell if it really mattered anyway. Anyway, I'm sure
Okay, guys, this is going to be a short recording. This is to give my thoughts on Kanye West and him speaking up in regards to politics in the political realm. He's always had a voice in regards to social ills, the urban communities, how Black people have been treated. That hasn't changed. All right. I just wanted to make that clear that I don't see how his point of view has changed. Some of the things that he brought up to discuss at the White House, what was it, 2 weeks ago? Those things were along the lines of many of the things that he rap about, or many of the topics that he rap about in his lyrics. It's just, how can I say it? Artists come off pretty different when they are in their realm of creativity. Okay, that's like my personality. From if I'm having one-on-one interaction with people. I'm interacting with people, my delivery a lot of times is much faster, I'm much hyped, amped up. It's different. You see a different personality. It's still me. However, I adapt to the environment that I'm in, and it's an exchange of energy. So there's a difference in the energy and how I deliver the message when I'm talking to people versus a live video or recorded video. And I think with many people, there's a difference in energy when they cross realms and present themselves in different realms. It's a challenge for any person to master themselves in discussing any type of issue when they branch off in different realms and still keep a delivery that doesn't confuse the people that are watching. Okay, that's and it's very it's imperative that you guys jot that down or take note of it. Many people will say, well, that's not, he has no business discussing politics. He has no background in it, and so on and so forth. You know what the word is about that in regards to that. I say that he has very valid points. Some of the points that he has are some of the points that we have. He just has to learn how to focus his delivery so that what he says when he's in the realm of politics or even on interviews is received with the same level of respect or similar level of respect as his message do over a lyric, over a beat. Because his energy is amped up, and it's the most powerful when it's connected to music. When he's connected to music, that's when his power comes out. That's when that other side of Ye is forceful, very assertive, very to the point. Then his lyrics is rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed, versus when he goes to these meetings and have these interviews. I do not think that Kanye West prepares his speech. That's like this recording that I did. It's not necessarily prepared. I know exactly what I want to say, and I know how I'm going to say it, but I didn't sit there and rehearse for about 30 minutes to an hour on exactly how I'm going to say it and exactly how it's going to come out. Versus if I recorded something and I rehearsed and planned exactly what I was going to say and exactly how it was going to come out, it'll be completely different. You see, so what I'm seeing with Kanye is that he's very comfortable to go and wing it, not understanding the seriousness of the message. He knows the seriousness of, let me say this, not understanding the seriousness of how his delivery is going to affect those who look up to him or affect those who are counting on him to speak on their behalf and have what he say be taken with the utmost seriousness and respect. I don't think Kanye has taken that into consideration. And that is what I see what the issue is with the people that are following Kanye. Okay. Also, this is a clear indication and clear sign to let you guys know that following someone without having your own inner compass, your own intellectual compass, your own emotional compass, your own spiritual compass is detrimental to your own existence. All right. Let that be a reminder that you are to make sure that you stand firm in your principle. You know, you pick sense from nonsense. You hear what people have to say. You use what you can use, discard what you can't use. However, you are your own leader. You are your own compass. Okay. And that's what I'm going to say about Kanye. The other thing I wanted, I have one more thing I wanted to say about him. As far as children, he's not taking into account of how him as a man, he's not just an artist, he is a man, he's an African American, he's melanated. He doesn't understand how children view him. You know, like he viewed Donald Trump, or he said things along the lines of Donald Trump being somewhat of like a father figure. I didn't take it as Kanye said Donald Trump was his father. I took that as Donald Trump being considered as a father figure because he's a male, somewhat of a role model to some people in the United States of America. And he says that as opposed to, or the reasoning for why he was more in support of Donald Trump opposed to Hillary Clinton. Okay, I disagreed with his reasoning for why he didn't support Hillary Clinton, but he's entitled to his own opinions, and he's also entitled to support who he wants to support. That's not. I'm not the judge, jury, and prosecutor in regards to who he wants to support and why. Okay, he didn't take into consideration, or he doesn't take into consideration, as I said before, on how his message affects those who are listening, especially when he makes it a habit of not specifically clarifying himself. He's not specific on a lot of things, and he doesn't clarify himself on a lot of things. The other thing with Kanye is that he doesn't have an affirmative delivery. His delivery is not affirmative or assertive to a great extent. And what I know about the masses, based off of an analysis in human behavior, is that people tend to not respect a message if it is not delivered in an affirmative or assertive way. Okay? It doesn't mean that your message was not serious or had the intent that you had behind it. It means that somehow people are hardwired to respecting a message when it is forced onto them, opposed to them allowing it to be presented and then them choosing to accept it, them making the conscious decision to accept it. And that has a lot to do with people not realizing that they have more power than they do have. It's just amazing how how messages are displayed and how lessons are revealed. There's plenty of revelations on just about anything that we do. Okay, so let me place that before you again. If you accept or take a message seriously, if you only take a message seriously when it has been forced upon you, right? Affirmatively spoken and assertively spoken, that also tells me that you only take things seriously when it has infringed upon you in some type of way to force you to do it. You had to be made to feel that you're forced to do something. You don't know how to, the masses don't know how to take the bull by its horns, take ownership of a thing and do it on their own. They have to feel forced into doing it. Okay. And that's what I see with Kanye West. He doesn't understand that even when he says things on our behalf, because he lacks affirmative and assertive delivery, what he says is overlooked. And then becomes, because again, the masses are moved by emotionalism, right? So when things are posed on you in an affirmative way or assertive way, it incites an emotion within you and you move based off of that emotion, right? So because Kanye lacked that type of delivery, the masses are not moved when he projects a message from that space. However, the masses is moved when he incites mania, because that mania also incites emotion. So the masses are aroused to move when he's in mania, when he's emotion and souped up about other things that may not be so positive. They're moved by that. But when it comes to this, that more delivery about, calm and not so assertive and affirmative delivery about, the world is not moved. And it is almost like he didn't say what he said. Now, the thing with this is, for the masses, it's a thing to teach you that regardless of how you're hardwired to be moved, it doesn't mean that a message was not sent. You know, and thank God that we have things being recorded. When you play back a video or you play back an interview, you cannot erase what that person has said. You know, at some point, you're going to have to come to holding yourself accountable to saying, wow, I really overlooked that message. and understanding why you overlooked that message. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm going to, and now I'm going to be done with Kanye on this. I'm going to leave it at that. That Kanye, I would like for you to take into account that there are many people who are watching, many people who look at you as a role model in some type of way, or a voice for the voiceless, because you have the ability, you can reach people that many of us either cannot reach, or that we have to go through so much protocol and time before we get to reach that person. You have the ability to reach certain people by just making a phone call and scheduling a day. Okay, and with that, and I understand that you would rather not be imprisoned by title, because the world loves to put titles on people. They need to be very certain of who you are by the direction that you take, and you have to follow a certain direction and a certain mold. And that mold is the mold that you have shown them when you first came out. You have to stick by that mold so they can slap a title on you. And the title is only so that they can feel comfortable and certain as to who you are. So I understand that you are not being, you're not going to be held hostage in your skin. You're not going to be held bondage or bind to a title. And you're okay with being the jack of all trades, and it's okay. And you don't necessarily have to be a master at any of those trades, so long as you master yourself, Kanye. Okay. But the challenge that I'm seeing here, and I can't really speak on that in an affirmative way, because I don't know it to be true, because I don't know you personally. Okay. But the way you come off at times, it seems as if you even haven't mastered yourself. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I want to see you work on, Kanye. We can always be better. There's always a way to be better. And I see that you can be better, provided that you master yourself more, not master your creativity or master what you put out. You know, I don't agree with everything, all your music. I don't. However, I listened to his last albums, and again, that last album, I forgot the name of it, Yeezy. That album is a very revolutionary album. There's a lot that Kanye's talking about on that album that pertains to what he met with Trump about, pertains to social ills. But the Black community didn't pick up on that, because your music was more like techno, and it was more futuristic. The music in that last album is very futuristic. It reminds me something of like spaceships and video game-ish type of music, right? So the Black community want to hear drums. We love drums, the basic stuff, right? And with that not being there, with the drums and the basic stuff not being there, you lost them. And because of that, you guys failed to hear the message in that album. They failed to hear the message in that album. And that's unfortunate. That's something that the Black community has to do better. We have to do better. You know, that is equivalent to the old saying of, if you want to keep something away from a nigger, you put it in a book, because niggers don't read, right? And it's not necessarily because niggers don't read. It's because stemming from slavery, post-traumatic slave syndrome, that's part of the effects of post-traumatic slave syndrome, because niggers wasn't supposed to read, because you'll get in trouble, you'll get lynched, you'll get, you know, castrated, whatever the case may be, you know, whipped, whatever starved, whatever they chose to do to you, you had to take, and it was in a form of punishment or death for reading. So we understand where that comes from, but I need you guys to also understand where the one-track mindedness, the one-dimensional way of seeing and thinking, the group think is detrimental. You know, if five people say one thing, I got to say it too, because you understand that if you don't go in alignment with what the five is saying, the five will ostracize you, right? It's either you say what we say and do what we say, or become bullied or get bullied and become ostracized, right? So we really have to take that into consideration as to how we're treating each other all across the board, and open ourselves up some more, become more open-minded, okay? And I'm going to leave with that. That's my end on Kanye. My final thoughts with Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, okay? And I would hope to not have to talk about this with these two women again. I'm going to say that Nicki Minaj and Cardi B is very talented, and there's more than enough room for both of these women to thrive. Now, I've been listening to them back and forth. I've read where so many people say that Nicki hasn't paid homage to Little Kim, and I can't stress this enough about how many times Nicki Minaj has paid homage to Little Kim. And why this is important to bring this up is because in a lot of what I'm reading from the fans is that they're saying this is karma and Nicki deserved it. And if she would have paid homage to Little Kim, she wouldn't be dealing with this and this, that, and the third. I'm going to say this again. Your refusal or inability or not even a thought didn't come to your mind to do research on the matter before you lend firm or affirmative opinions about the matter is nobody else's fault but yours. This is along the lines of ignorance of the law is no one else's fault but yours. Okay, so although they're not giving courses about the law and giving teaching information, what they're basically saying is the information is there. If you want to know about it, all you need to do is go and research and you will find. Seek and you shall find. Seek and you shall find. Okay, and that's what I'm going to say about the Nicki versus Little Kim. Now, the issue with Cardi B, okay, we're going to say that Atlantic Records, again, is doing their thing to undermine Nicki Minaj. With these two women, they're more than talented to be creative and grow and it's behind them, and they stop allowing the media and people in the record labels to pull their strings where they go back and forth at each other, okay? The other thing I want to say is, and I did a live feed on my Facebook page in regards to bullying. This is a prime example of how chronic bullying happens in your public schools or in any of your schools, whether it's public, charter. Bullying don't happen in Catholic schools because Catholic schools don't tolerate it, and some charter schools don't tolerate bullying. So predominantly in your public schools, and it doesn't matter if we're talking about in all Black communities or white communities, the white communities or Caucasian communities, I've seen it as well. So this is not a racial barrier thing. Bullying is a personal conflict personality disorder thing that we're allowing to take place, okay? Now, when I look at what's happening with Cardi B and Nicki Minaj and the way people are swaying, you guys didn't do that. You didn't sway with Nicki Minaj when it was her and Little Kim. It was pretty much even keel with her and Little Kim, all right? But with Cardi B and, hello, good afternoon, checking. Hey, thank Morpheus, but with Cardi B and Nicki Minaj, it seems I see where the shift, where the community, especially the Black community, is shifting in Cardi B's favor. All right, now I like both of them, but pay attention to how, and this is not so much of Nicki Minaj and Cardi B at this point, as much as it is what happens in schools and how bullying, chronic bullying takes place. All right, I used to be bullied at school, right? But when I was in school, I'll be 42 in December. When I was in school, I thought you weren't going to bully me and attack me and think you weren't going to get the beat down. And I was nice. The girls didn't have hands. That's why they needed a group of them. I used to give the boys a hard time to go. Trust me when I tell you this, okay? But in our schools, the personality, and in my circumstance, the person who gave me a hard time had a personality like Cardi B, all right? Cardi B has a lot of high energy, and it's good. It makes for good leadership. She has the gift of gab, and she has that high energy that people love. She's magnetic. The world love it because she has this larger than life personality. And I'm gonna tell you where that comes from. All right, not necessarily with her, because she was born that way. However, she has the ability to draw people in effortlessly, right? And what happens is those people who are drawn to her will automatically attack the person who she opposes because they like her. And they're not realizing that they're being manipulated to move in that way. You see what I'm saying? All because she's hypnotic, all because she's like a drug and they're attached to it. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that Cardi B is a negative person. However, what I'm saying is that you guys are being manipulated to move in a way, and ultimately you are accountable for your actions. You are accountable for what you do. Okay? And I can't stress this enough that people, thank you, Morphe. I can't stress this enough that people need to take the time to do their research and pull back some and say to yourself, well, we have so many people attacking or handling the situation. Why should I involve myself in it? You understand what I'm saying? But with Cardi B's personality, people are being manipulated and moved to attack Nicki Minaj. And that's not a good thing. Now, say that these two girls were at school. Nicki Minaj would be the kid that's targeted and bullied and attacked every day by masses of people who are drawn to the high energy that Cardi B has. Okay, and that's detrimental to our children. Our children are taking their lives. They're suffering in silence because there's no one that's speaking up for them when they're dealing with this case of bullying. And that's how energies like that can cause chronic bullying to take place in school. Okay, so this segment, because I talk about Nicki and Cardi so often, this segment about them is just to mainly raise the personality disorders that actually cause bullying, chronic bullying, and people to support the bully and participate how the bully wants them to participate. You understand what I'm saying? In essence, for those of you who have children with that type of energy that can easily draw the crowd in, it makes better sense for you to teach them how to be good leaders. Okay? Turn that negative energy, because what it is also is that it's ego. You understand? If ego says that I want to be the only great one, ego is going to manipulate the person to respond and behave in a way, right? So most people will say that ego doesn't need to exist. I am going to say that God has given it to us, right? Everything that God has given us, our thoughts, our emotion, all of those things are relevant and they matter. If they weren't relevant and if they didn't matter, the Creator would not have allowed us to have it. Let's start there, right? So the Creator allowed us to have it. It's not a bad thing. However, it can become detrimental if we don't know how to apply the balance or how to steer it in a positive way. Then it becomes a bad thing, right? So I say this to say, we must acknowledge the ego. Don't act like it don't exist, because the more you act like it don't exist, the more you create another problem. It's going to be layers of issues that stem from that needs to be solved. If we want to see people who are healthy, who have healthy mental illness, who have healthy self-esteem, who have healthy personalities. If we choose to see healthy and balanced anything, we have to acknowledge the things that's going on within our children and within people, and try to find a way to get a happy medium or find a balance or an offset to what's been happening. You understand what I'm saying? So you acknowledge the ego. It deserves to be acknowledged. And then you take it and steer it in a different direction that's more profitable, that's more beneficial. So children who have that type of energy that Cardi B may have makes for good leadership. Help them sign up with nonprofit organizations in the community. Let them help out at their school, volunteer. Let them get involved in things. Put them in a business course. Put them in leadership courses. Put them in extracurriculum activities that build their character, that help strengthen their good qualities. In essence, what's going to happen when that shift happens, what we're going to see is they're going to change their focus from wanting to attack a person and bully a child to wanting to help build better communities, help build better businesses, teach courses at businesses, train for communication, something. They're going to put themselves and place themselves in positions where they can make a system better. Same ego, same person, same drive, but you change the direction. I think it was Jay-Z who says, there's nothing wrong with my aim, just got to change the target, right? When you change the target, you also change the message, you also change the outcome, okay? All right, very important, because bullying, and I do have a book that's coming out either later on this year, the beginning of next year. I'm waiting for my planet Jupiter to go direct into the sun, moon, or rising sign of Sagittarius, because I am a Sagittarius. That transition takes place on November 8th. So after November 8th, beginning of next year, most likely, I'm going to put my book out, drop the book on bullying at school bullying. The next book that I will be putting out will be about workplace bullying. So you guys will stay tuned in regards to that. All right. Also, in regards to, we're talking about bullying. The other types of bullies that I've seen, again, because it's my realm, my things that I study, is people who appear to have meek or passive personalities, who are actually passive aggressive. They have the ability to be leaders as well. So that personality draw people, they draw in protectors. They draw in people who look at them as, let's say, the damsel in distress, or the person that people are always trying to attack. So they're coming to protect that person and attack the person who that person is saying is making them feel some type of way. That's another thing that we need to work on when we're assessing, our children's character. Now, again, that child's thought process or their emotions is valid. They may be afraid of that person, but why? And it boils down to, is it that person's intent to frighten this person, or intent to steal that person's shine? Or is it that that's what your child thinks? Because if your child thinks that that's their intent, and they react and respond and pull in the people who are the protectors to come and defend them, then that's not a healthy thing as well. You see what I mean? So I know I'm not saying that, raising children is not an easy job. It is not. However, I've just put out information to make things a little bit more easier, or to just help you see things in a different way. So you can change or shift the paradigm to anything that's going on in your life. And I'm going to leave it with this. Cardi B and Nicki Minaj, I would like to see you both get to the point where you put all of this behind you, make great music, and respect each other, okay? And for the rest of the world, let this be an eye-opener to how you participate in chronic bullying, or just bullying over. You guys have a great one, and talk to you soon. Peace.